Hi everyone, I'm Ken from Crypto Trading KS. If you're new, welcome, and welcome back to our regular community. Let's run the numbers. Bitcoin currently trading at 43,499, up 8.23%. Ethereum trading at 29.24, up 5.8%. If you're new to the channel, I'd just like to let you know that everything I do for you is free. 7 days a week, I share my knowledge as a full-time technical trader with over 20 years of experience to assist you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love. We can see Matic up 8.43%, Uni up 6.42%. The market's looking pretty green today. We can see ADA up 5.99%, BNB up 5.09%. I've hidden knowledge gems throughout this video. Unless you watch to the end, you'll miss them. See how many you can find. Rule 143, always be learning. When trading or investing, and you know that anytime you invest and buy or sell, you become a trader. So it's really important to learn trading. Mortimer Adler said, all genuine learning is active, it's not passive. There's a lot of hard work that's needing to go into your learning, and everybody learns every day. Why did I say needs to go into your learning? It's really important to learn. For example, if somebody gives you a great tip on a crypto, a stock, a precious metal, commodity, and you just say, fantastic, I'm going all in, because they would say you need to go all in on this. If you don't do the research, you could find yourself basically financially decimated. Learning is really, really important. It's your money. That's your lifeblood. You need to protect it. Learning does that. Benjamin Franklin had a beautiful quote, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. When you're putting your lifeblood on the line, you want to make sure that it's as safe as it can be. Rule 174, the T-cube method, trend, timing, and trigger. We're going to look at the trend now. We use the KS process to determine the true trend. The first thing we do is look at substitutability. Bitcoin and crypto is one particular investment class. You could pick gold, which is down 13% right now. You could pick stocks, the S&P 500, for example, or your local stock market. S&P 500 is up 32%. Bitcoin for the past 12 months is up 250%. Large percentage returns also mean a large degree of volatility. Volatility means risk. That risk can be very hard to put up with cryptos. Because cryptos move around so randomly, it's really important to understand the overall trend. What we've done here is to create an early warning system to give us advance notice of any potential reversals. Many people were called into Bitcoin at the top of this particular past peak. What we saw here, negative air, beware of negative air. When you draw a trend line between these two peaks, there was negative air below that particular trend line. That was acting as resistance, strong resistance. It ended up pushing the price through support and down. When price tried to come back, negative air was hit again. This can give us signs of impending sell-offs. When markets weaken, they can weaken very quickly, but they generally take some degree of time to actually decay properly. This is going back to the 12th of Feb and 13th of March 2020. We saw risk detected in the market and then a massive sell-off. It's really important to be able to pull the trigger on exiting positions if risk-on events are actually detected. That will be incredibly difficult to do for the vast majority of people. I just give you this information to try to prepare you. These events will always occur. It's just natural part of being in the market. When crypto sells off, the stock market sells off too. It's really important to be aware of what weakness looks like in the stock market. You can see here 12th of Feb to the 13th of March 2020, same period. Look at this particular weakness that we saw in the major index, the NASDAQ 100. It's really important to be able to identify these kind of behaviors. Turning to the KS model, which is a crypto technical trading model based on institutional price psychology, we're in the bull market phase. That means price is going up. There is an expectation of higher prices. If we were in the bear market phase, we would expect lower prices. We're not. We're in the sunshine phase. We need to compare sunshine to sunshine to sunshine. Looking at realized cap hodl waves, comparing sunshine to sunshine to sunshine, we see that we have 3 of these waves. We would expect 2 more. Crypto is growing far more quickly than the internet ever grew. And you say, Ken, why do I care about that? Crypto is the essential upgrade of the internet to the internet of value. It really matters. It's a new technology. Crypto is actually growing so quickly that an average of 19.2 million users per month were brought into crypto for the past 6 months. If we take a long view model, we can see that we're in phase 1 at the moment. Phase 1 is the big takeoff phase. This is just a nice little picture here for you. That's an old photo. Bitcoin says $2 the policeman is looking at. Look at that, 16,200. That's around there. Wow, how far Bitcoin has come, and how far Bitcoin will go, and all cryptos will go. Bitcoin especially has a limited supply of 21 million. It's just going to get more and more and more valuable over time. Bitcoin peaks and Bitcoin bottoms are hammered in through positive and negative euphoria. We haven't seen any of that kind of behavior just yet. Bitcoin relative unrealized profit, you can see these spikes. We expect a couple more. Bitcoin number of transfers to exchanges. We typically get a mass of transfers into exchanges from cold storage. We don't have any of that right now. Rule 147, see things with no bias. This is a really, really important rule. For example, when you're analyzing a chart, you may see something like a dinosaur. Maybe the head is going up, maybe the head is going down. It's all very artistic. As a former stats lecturer, 1st and 2nd year, I don't like artistry in any of my work. I don't want to fit any particular pattern to anything. I just want the data to speak its own story for me. That is really, really important. If we look, for example, at the KS model for the current price action, what we can see is that we could actually move this cycle down here to make it fit price action, or we could make it move this way, or we could make it move some other way. Now, what is happening? What have I done there? I'm just trying to show you how creative people can get with their analysis. If they want to make price look like it's going like a past cycle, they can do that. They could move it up there. They could move it down. They could do anything. So what do we do with the KS model? Just to make a note, we don't do anything like this. You notice that all halvings, all the graphs start at the halving. They must be smack bang on that line. Some people say they can be somewhere else. That's okay. Everybody has their opinion and everybody can do as they wish. I'm very, very rigorous with how I do graphing. I like to be consistent. The problem is that if we move this particular fractal away from the halving, what actually occurs is that we're now extending it further. Even though we've made it look like, wow, look at this price, it just matches. Oh, this model is so predictive. This is just the last, hang on a second. It doesn't end here, it ends halfway over here. Ooh, what does all that mean? What we actually do in the KS model is we do all fractals from the halving. The blue 2012 cycle is from the halving. The green 2016 halving cycle is from the halving. What's important here is that this particular price action is the exact fractal of the 2016 halving cycle. This 2012 halving cycle is a normalized fractal. That means it was stretched out to match the 2016 halving cycle. You can actually see that it extends all the way up to nearly $900,000. Predictions on the peak of the bull market, what I've done is a relatively reasonable assumption mathematically of 486,000 to 288,000, which is Plan B's estimate as well. The important thing here is to just understand that there is a great degree of rigor. I do not want to move anything. I don't want to do dinosaur pictures for you. That's why Rule 147 is so incredibly important. Please do not try to fit the data to your version of reality. I can see it done all over the place. It's better if you just let price speak to you as it is. The Delta variant is causing problems throughout the world. I know that some people don't subscribe to the Delta variant and they don't believe in COVID. The important thing is, it's not what any particular person thinks, it's what the world thinks as a collective whole. Again, I think this is seeing things without any bias. For COVID not to be a problem, to not shut down the world economies, we must see a decrease in the weekly percentage change in cases. In the last 4 days, there's been 4.36 million new cases. We're really trying to see anything that is going negative. We don't want any economy to suffer from any disease, cancer, heart disease, COVID, influenza, colds, anything that harms other people. Nobody would want that. This is a particularly bad virus. We can see negatives in some countries. That's getting better. But please be aware, across the weekends, there's always a delay in case numbers. Looking across the world currently, we can see we're in the third wave. The number of deaths is going down, trending down. That's what we want. Let's have a look at the stock market indices. We're going to go through this list here. This is all about the business cycle, where different economies are playing in terms of their recovery. Before we get started, we'll look at the VIX. The VIX is a very powerful fear gauge in the markets. We can see it is decreasing. I've overlaid the price of Bitcoin for you here. We can see Bitcoin is going up, the stock market is going up. We notice that this lower support line is being held currently. The Nasdaq 100 is at support. The S&P 500 is leaving support. The Russell 2000 was showing weakness. It's since got above that resistance and rallying up. The Dow Jones is showing strength. It's bounced from that resistance. It's got a bit of positive air there. That's always a really good sign. Looking at Canada's index, the TSX, we can see an upward momentum in prices. China's Shanghai Composite Index is being rejected by that resistance. The China Technology Index is quite below resistance. This is now confirmed as negative air. India's index, the Sensex, has broken out from resistance and is just retracing a little, but it's acting with a lot of strength. The Kospi 200, South Korea's index, rallied over that resistance and is seeking to consolidate. Japan's Nikkei 225 has bounced from support. Mexico's index has rallied across this resistance, turned it to support on strength. It's just consolidating. Brazil's index has shown a little bit of weakness recently. It's just below that resistance, almost at it. The FTSE 100, the UK's index, is showing strength. Germany's DAX 30 is showing strength. It's making a play for that resistance. Italy's index is showing an enormous amount of strength. France's CAC 40 index is doing really well. It's showing a lot of power. Australia's index is also showing a lot of upward price power. Spain's index has broken through that upward resistance and is resuming back up. The Swiss index broke out from resistance, has turned it into support, and is coming back for the retest and resumption. Singapore's index is over resistance and trying to make its way upwards. Within our community, crypto stocks, cryptos are us. That's what we're all about. No, I shouldn't say that. Basically, we focus on cryptos. I certainly don't want to upset George. You gotta love George, he's cool. When we look at crypto stocks, we're really interested in the US market. Why is that? Because it accounts for about $56 out of every 100 put into stock markets globally. First of all, let's check out the big players. Apple is just below resistance. Microsoft is repairing technical damage. It's breaking out of this resistance. Google is moving upwards, trying to get above that resistance. We've seen a lot of weakness in Amazon stock recently. It is below resistance. It has some negative air. That's not a good sign. Facebook is improving after a recent sell-off. It's just trying to consolidate around that support line. Nvidia has broken out from resistance and resumed back up. PayPal was also very weak recently. It had quite a substantial sell-off. It's seeking to get back up to this resistance. It's being rejected at the moment. Netflix is just grinding higher, but it's taking its time. Before we get into the cryptos, let's just do a quick check of economically sensitive data. If we look at the T-bond futures, we can see they are coming back to test support. The TLT is selling off back to support. The TNX, the 10-year Treasury note yield, is coming back up on strength to test this resistance. The TYX, the 30-year Treasury bond, is above that once resistance. The high-yield corporate bond ETF is seeking to come back up. The airline industry is under a bit of downward price momentum at the moment. It's seeking to test that resistance. The transportation index, very similar to the airline index, has performed a little bit better. It's now come up to test that resistance. That's looking quite good. Utilities have come up through that resistance, turned it to support and resuming up, but there's been a bit of a rejection here. Gold has dramatically sold off recently. It wasn't supported by this upward support line. It cut straight through it. It's not doing too well at the moment. Silver is following course. It just sliced through that support line and has continued down. Copper tried to bounce from that support and was rejected down. Brent oil is continuing to be rejected. Price is pushing down. Light crude tried to come back but has been squashed down in price. The DXY has rallied over that resistance, and let's see what happens now. There's got a few things in here to get across, but it looks like it's crossed over. So what does this all mean? It means that the recession indicators are basically throwing us a small warning. That's not a reason to panic. It's really important that you don't panic. Don't prepare for any particular downturn. Things can reverse very quickly. If we have a look at the TLT, this is a good sign. So we're seeing some good signs, some bad signs. It's a little bit mixed at the moment. Just keep your eye on things. We'll be going through it each day. Nothing to worry about so far, but I just thought I would give you a little bit of a heads up. Just to let you know why I say there's not much to worry about right now with this data in front of us. We have something to worry about when we see deep sell-offs, really big sell-offs. We're not seeing those currently. When I mean a deep sell-off, I mean something like that. That is a deep sell-off that we need to worry about. We're not seeing that currently. I hope that helps. Bitcoin has been doing really well recently. Look at that incredible power. Came up, tested structural resistance, came back, and then shot through it. I'd like to let you know that there are two actual lines of structural resistance. There's an arithmetic and a logarithmic. If I change this to a logarithmic stance, you can see that red line. Price is just below that red line. It's passed through the arithmetic structural resistance line here. It's just getting up to the logarithmic structural resistance line. We've seen an increase in Bitcoin holdings. Basically, the public companies have increased from 215,747 to 215,980. The total amount of Bitcoin held across ETFs, countries, public companies, private companies is currently 1,475,674. Looking at crypto total market cap, it's currently $1.744 trillion. What I've done for you is to put the support lines for both arithmetic and logarithmic together. What you can see is total market cap. That's all the alts, including Bitcoin. It has actually passed those two levels of support. Before getting into the Bitcoin ETFs, I want to explain how I actually draw this support line, support and resistance line. I've lined it up from the bottom to the first bounce on every single one of these. You can see very consistent. As a statistician, I don't believe in inconsistencies. The data must be honored. We just look at the data. We don't try to fit anything to it. We just say the data is the data. I'm going to look at the data. Okay, now you know why the lines are there. It's the same with all the other lines. I just want to clear that up. I think it's important to know. What we're trying to do is actually understand relative strength and relative weakness. Let's go for it. Changing it back to candles is really important. I'll just show you how I did that. Before I had it on area. If I want to change it back to candles, this is the preferred stance because it gives us an understanding of long tail rejections, not just the close. Okay, Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is below resistance. BitC is just springing from support. Purpose Bitcoin ETF is above support. BTCQ is doing really well. It's come down, tested this support, and it's got positive air, clean air above that line. That is showing strength. The BTC ETC, Bitcoin Exchange Traded Crypto, is above support and showing strength. QBTC, the Bitcoin Fund, is above support and showing strength. Bitwise 10 Crypto Index Fund is below, quite below, that particular resistance line. Remember, what we're doing is seeking relative price movements, relative strength. It's a very, very powerful tip. Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund is doing really well. Look at all that positive air, that clean air above that support line. That's a lot of strength in there. 21 shares Bitcoin is doing quite well. It was under resistance and now it's getting across it. VanEck, Vectors Bitcoin ETN is still below resistance, but it's making a play for it. CI Galaxy Bitcoin ETF is doing pretty well. Look at that. We've got some positive air, some clean air above that support, that strength. Osprey Bitcoin Trust is below resistance. 9 Point Bitcoin ETF is above support with strength. EBIT, the Bitcoin ETF, is above support with strength. Okay, let's do the public companies with Bitcoin. Again, I've done exactly the same thing. I've drawn this line from that bottom close to the next pullback. Now, when we change that to candles, you can see some pretty interesting things happening, but you know where it's coming from. Let's have a look at MicroStrategy. It's doing well. It's holding that support, has positive air. That's power. Tesla did very well, bypassed this resistance, coming back for the retest of support. Galaxy Digital is still under resistance, but it is increasing in price. Voyager Digital, so many digitals, it's under resistance, got a bit of negative air. That's not so good, but it is showing a degree of strength. Let's keep our eye on that one. Square Inc. is above that resistance. Marathon Digital, it's overcome a lot of resistance actually. That's looking really good for Mara. Coinbase Global is rallying off support. Hut 8 Mining Corporation has bypassed resistance. It's in a cradle now. That's looking pretty good. ADE, the Bitcoin Group SE, is not doing so well. It's just hugging this downward support line. Riot has managed to overcome this particular resistance, got another one above it, but it is doing its best to get above resistance. Bitfarms, BitF, is doing really well. It's overcome this resistance from that cradle. It's been propelled up. Argo Blockchain is under resistance, just consolidating currently. Hive Blockchain, HVBT, is getting a cradle put together right now. It's doing well. Bit Digital, BTBT, is on a tear. It's going really well. Silvergate Capital Corporation is just getting above resistance. It's turning that to support. If you haven't heard of Silvergate Capital Corporation, it is a bank holding company for Silvergate Bank, and it provides financial infrastructure solutions and services to participants in the digital currency industry. Pretty cool, huh? I hope you found the content useful. Everything I do for you is free. Please be aware of scammers. And thank you to our moderators for keeping our community safe. And thank you to everyone inside the community. I read your comments. It's just beautiful what you write. Please reach out to me anytime with questions. I do these videos to assist you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love. Let's have a look at these Ethereum tokens. Please say hi and let me know where you're viewing from and if you have any questions. If you would like twice daily updates 7 days a week on price movements in the crypto market, please subscribe to YouTube and follow me on Twitter. Crypto is volatile. Always prepare yourself for the best and worst case scenarios. Reality will likely be between them. Stay safe out there. Take care and see you next time. Bye for now.